friends, thanks for watching right now. We are going to be starting the live stream here very shortly. Hey, I'm going to put this into Do Not Disturb mode. Thank you, everybody, for joining the live stream so far. We greatly appreciate y'all coming. It's been a fun morning. Y'all's mics are muted, so I can talk bad about James forgetting the things he forgot. All right, now I have that open so that I can monitor some comments. All right, guys, we have some people filtering in. We're going to get this show going. Because it is a proper episode of Homebrew Happy Hour, I'm going to start it how we usually start it. And today's episode is brought to you by HomebrewSupply.com. Joe Ermis over there from HomebrewSupply.com. We're very fortunate. We're going to have some giveaways from you guys. Promo code HHH if you go to HomebrewSupply.com. That'll get you 5% off your order. I think there might be some exclusions there, things that are drop shipped or things that are MAP pricing, but for the majority of the store, 5% off your order with the promo code HHH. Let me hit these bumpers, and then we're going to go. Forgot the bumper. Welcome to the Homebrew Happy Hour. This is the show where we supply the answers to your homebrewing questions and discuss all things related to craft beer. If you have a question you'd like us to discuss on a future episode, visit homebrewhappyhour.com and click on the Submit a Question link at the top of the page. I'm your host, Joshua Stubing. Today I'm joined by two of my favorite people in the companies that I do work for, Joe Ermis of homebrewsupply.com and James Carlson, the Director of Operations at CM Becker International. A mouthful.
Yes.
Guys, besides the dreary weather,
that's not bad.
The construction zone, working zone area that we're in, it's actually not a bad day.
No, it's really nice.
It's a brew day.
Yeah.
Not only is it brew day, it's learn to homebrew day. Yeah. That's the whole reason why we're doing this live stream.
All right.
I'm actually very excited. I have to reach for the board because I got little short T-Reds on. Good God. We are going to be doing prize giveaways today. That's the only reason why we have like more than 3 people in the room. And of those 3, my mom's on her iPad, my dad's on his iPad, and I think my daughters have my Surface tablet. So cool. We have actual other people watching. This is nuts. Brew days, can they not be enjoyable? Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh, they're always enjoyable.
Joe was telling me a story on the way up here. Because we were talking, some things did happen, and I'm going to rib you here in a little bit.
Yeah,
Some things did happen, but Joe was like, you know, if it wouldn't be a brew day if it was perfect, right?
That's right.
Something always goes wrong, yeah, definitely.
But even then, it's still enjoyable.
Oh, yeah. It almost makes it more worth it. You know, you got to kind of find a little way around an issue you're running into or something. You know, you kind of sometimes you got to kind of play it by what the cards you got and just kind of go with it. We've definitely had some weird stuff happen on brew days, and like I said, you just got to kind of work through it, make it happen.
Yeah.
And see, he actually saved the day.
He did. Joe,
he's being very humble.
He did save the day.
I messed up.
It was about 8:45. So, James, thank you for making the drive first off.
Yeah.
The drive is what, 3 hours, give or take 20 minutes?
It wasn't even 3 hours.
Well, the way you drive,
I was driving the speed limit. I'm pretty sure.
You're right. It was 2.5.
Yeah, 2:45. 2 minutes,
okay.
2 hours and 45 minutes.
Yeah, and you called me when you got to Lampasas, which Lampasas is a little bit more than halfway mark for you.
Yeah.
And you said, Josh, guess what I forgot? I said, what? Are you?
You know what he said? The cleaning kit? I'm like, no,
That's
it's
what I
much worse.
I know. Well, when you first said, yeah, I forgot the kit. I forgot the effing kit. And I said, Oh, the cleaning kit? Oh, no problem, man. we could do without the cleaning kit because we're giving away cleaning kits from CM Becker.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, not the cleaning kit, you moron. I forgot the ingredient kit that we're going to brew today for because it is National Learn to Homebrew Day or whatever the American Homebrewers Association is calling today.
Yeah.
We are brewing immediately after this live stream.
Yep.
We were going to brew a certain recipe
Yep.
that got left in Comanche.
Yeah.
No big deal. That's a future brew video. Not a big
Sure.
deal.
Right.
Because you do have a system on the way.
Yes.
So we'll get to brew it.
I think we're all excited about that.
That's why you didn't bring it, so we
Maybe
can
that's
record it on the much nicer set.
Yes.
Although today's setup is nice.
It's pretty cool.
I like it. We're going to go over that equipment soon later. Before we start on talking about the equipment we're going to be using and all the Brew Day stuff, I did want to get a chance for the people coming in to submit their Brew Day stories. Leave a comment on Brew Day questions. We'll be going through the comments. I have my phone here so I can see, and we'll pick people at random for various prizes. Or if you have specific questions for James or Joe, because my phone's being used to watch the comments, so I can't Google to answer your questions. But these guys will know the answers, I'm sure. But let's get this started. James, what did you bring that you didn't forget?
That's we actually, this is a new package that we're coming out. It was in this month's issue of Zimmergy.
Yeah, for the Homebrew Supply ad.
Yeah, it's really cool. You get a mash and boil, and it's a self-contained unit. And then you get
That's the big piece, Joe. If you would Vanna White it for us, yeah, it's in the shot. You're good. You can just.
Yeah, and it's pretty cool. It's got a inner canister to hold the grains, and I've brewed twice, 2 batches with it already, and I think people are going to like it. It's got a great price. And
as far as automated brewing goes,
right,
is it as straightforward as like the Grain Father is the bread and butter?
It is
of automated all grain brewing. Like, I mean, thousands of people enjoy their Grain Fathers.
It's a great unit.
Yeah.
Is it? I'm not trying to pit it against it, but is it as entry level friendly in regards to
the
learning curve?
Yes. It's easy to program. There's a different, because the fact that it doesn't recirculate through the mash, the grain bed. You have to brew with it a little different than you would the Grain Father. So back, Joe, you remember got water cooler.
Yeah. That's how I still brew at home.
Yeah,
is a
so
10-gallon igloo cooler. Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah, and that's a great way to brew too. But you kind of go about it that way.
Yeah.
So you have to calculate your strike temp.
It's not as easy to fly sparge. You kind of either batch sparge, and like I said, that's how I still brew at home, and I love batch sparge, and it works great.
Yeah.
And what I wanted to mention, it does have a spout on the bottom, a ball valve, so you can buy a pump and separately just run a hose out of that ball valve and then through your pump and back up into the top and turn it into a recirculation mash fairly simply, with a little bit of hose and a pump.
Absolutely. And funny you say that. I was looking on Amazon, and there's a couple of 110-volt pumps that come with a filter.
Oh, wow.
The pump.
Yeah.
And it also comes with a spray head. So it'll sprinkle more around over the grain bed.
Kind of evenly disperse it back into the top.
And I want to say that was in the $39, $40 range. So,
oh wow!
So
very
you
reasonable.
could turn that into a Grain Father, and I like the unit for the price. It's hard.
When
to
I know,
beat.
Joe, you can speak more on this. Being with Homebrew Supply, it's a focus on the holiday ad. Because it is very entry-level friendly in regards to budget and learning curve.
Sure. Yeah, it's brand new, so it's just on the market now, and we figured it'd be a great way, especially if you're already doing extract batches at home. It's a great little step up to do an all grain, having an electric system. You can do it in-house if the weather's bad, that kind of thing. It's a great entry, kind of getting your feet wet in all grain, being able to have more control over your brewing for sure. So.
And then what over there, I also see a fermenter that I'm not familiar with.
It's another one brand new, from Brewcraft, the Genesis fermenter, and it's 6.5 gallons. It's plastic. It's food grade plastic. It's got dual rubber handles, and it's a lot heavier duty than I kind of thought could see from the picture when I actually got my hands on it. It's a lot kind of sturdier than it kind of looked from the pictures. But it comes with a stopper airlock, and it also comes with 2 liners. So these plastic food grade liners, which they're nice because you can skip your cleaning and sanitizing process, and you can just go straight in there. Yeah. But obviously, you can use it without the liners as well. You'll just have to clean and sanitize it like you would your normal bucket.
I was going to say,
carboy.
most people are used to that already.
Yeah.
I mean, it was Michael Ferguson from last week's episode, the director of marketing over there at Tapright and the host of Beer Geeks. He had said, like, we are janitors that know how to cook. Like
Right.
sanitation is no stranger to
you
anybody
have
who's
to have
homebrew.
that.
Glorified janitors.
Yep.
Glorified janitors. I also see over there a nice immersion chiller.
50-foot copper 3/8 outer diameter. And yeah, 50-foot is nice because it's it's double the surface area of your normal 25-foot chiller. So it's gonna cool quite a bit quicker. I think what they say for a 5-gallon batch with one of those things, you're looking, depending on obviously the water that's coming out, what degree it is, like 15 to 20 minutes. So it's not too much.
That's not bad at all.
I've used it twice, and it's about a little over 20 minutes with what we had.
That's not bad at all.
Yeah.
And that's like room temp water.
Yeah, just municipal
75
water
or whatever.
Yeah.
And all of this, I say all this, the three things we just went over are the holiday bundle from Homebrew Supply, correct?
Correct.
Yep.
And yeah, Zimmergy, which is the official magazine for the American Homebrewers Association.
Right.
There's all these words I'm mixing up today. Today is not National Learn to Brew Day. It's Learn to Homebrew Day.
Yeah.
It's not the international. What did we come up with? This Galactic Imperial Brew.
Right.
Bring your buddies to brew. Good Lord, I'm messing this up. But also on the table are two presents from CM Becker. I say presents. One of them is not a giveaway.
No.
The one in the foreground there for the camera, that is the gravity feed beer line cleaning kit.
It is.
We've got
Yeah.
a ton of those to give away.
Yeah, we're
today.
gonna give some of those away.
Now, can you talk about? I want that. What is that little gallon jug there? That
That
we're
gallon
not giving
jug
away?
is a low foam, no rinse sanitizer, and we're pretty proud of that. We've been working on trying to get this out for seems like years now.
Almost
And,
over 2 is what I was told.
Yeah, we just got approval on the smaller packaging. I brew a lot. Joe brews a lot, so I like the gallon jug. But I understand there's some people that want a quart jug.
And that's what we're going to be using for
Yes.
the Brew Day video, right?
Yes, it's a great product.
I'm so pumped because whatever reason, when I went with y'all to the Homebrew Con for the CMB booth, Rick over at Logic did the awesome.
Oh, he had a crowd, didn't he?
Had such a crowd.
Wow.
He if it doesn't work out for him in chemicals, he's always got a place at a carnival. Because he like, guess your weight. This is this. What's up? What's up? But he was showing off the low foam compared to the national leading brand of which we
Right.
shall not name.
Sure.
And they came by the booth too.
Oh man, they did. Yeah,
Remember that?
Yeah, they're not watching because no one's watching. But thanks for being jerks to me. But the reaction people got to a low, and we have to say low foam because
Yeah.
there's a little bit.
Sure.
But I wouldn't even mind calling it no foam.
Well,
that thing was so
It dissipates
minuscule.
almost immediately when you shake
It was
it.
amazing, but we didn't take any video.
Right.
That's what I was kicking myself in the butt as we were leaving the Twin Cities in Minnesota. I was like, if we could have gotten Rick's little pitch on video,
Right.
or just that, like the fact that we're videoing it today
Mm-hmm.
warms my heart because that is like, I'm not a good salesman, but I imagine like what everyone else, what sold me on it was seeing it in action.
Right.
You could tell me all day low foam.
Sure.
Oh, okay. Well, other people say low foam, and then I work with it, and I have hard water, and it's like, well, what does low foam mean to you?
Yeah.
In hard water.
Yeah,
that
you
is
hit
still
another key
low
point.
Foam.
Yeah.
I was using that other product
Yeah.
at home, and I had 2 batches go bad back to back. Never had that happen before. Well, normally I use iodine or Iodophor, and I changed this other product. And I was sitting in a hotel room, and Rick come in,
Yeah.
and I said, "Oh, by the way, why did I lose 2 batches?" And he said, "Well, I need to know what your water profile is." I'm that big of a geek that I carry my water profile on my phone. And he looked at it and he said, "Well, that product won't work with this." And I said, "Well, what are you talking about?" And he said, "Your water's too hard. You got well water, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "It won't work that way."
Yeah.
That's why you had 2 failed
That is
batches.
exactly what.
So it's basically, I was putting that sanitizing solution in water that wouldn't accept it, and it was doing no good whatsoever.
Yeah, and actually, someone just commented right now. Aaron writes, a couple shows ago, you mentioned this low foam sanitizer. Do I remember correctly that this product can also be used as a cleaner, or do you still need a separate cleaner?
It works good as a cleaner. It also removes beer stone.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, that's on y'all's landing page.
Yes.
It's like cmbecker.com, and then the first option, I think, might be the cleaner. I don't remember the sub.
But, we can, the Brew Clean would be what I use as a cleaner. But if you want to remove beer stone, Brew Clean won't do that. This product will.
That's right.
Yeah.
And that was what a lot of people on the show floor, because I remember when Rick would unfortunately leave to go to the bathroom or lunch break or whatever, and I would be left on that side of the booth.
I remember that.
Remember, I was just making stuff up left and right. I was like, oh, yeah, it'll cure cancer. Don't sue me. It's like essential oil people, man.
Right,
like, this thing's a
exactly.
miracle.
That's hilarious.
But
I have used it. I've used it. I used it Monday when I was transferring some carboys to kegs, and I used it yesterday brewing on this machine, and I like the product.
yeah, it is a fantastic product. And Joe, you have not gotten to use it yet.
I have not, no. And I was going to mention, I mean, we do have the Brew Clean. That's what I would probably use for, the majority of if you've got a lot of gunk and residue built up, that's going to knock it off quite a bit easier. And then you would obviously use this afterwards. But if it's very minimal, like residue and stuff built up, like you can simply just use this with like a sponge or a soft, like a rag or something, and get most of your cleaning done if it's not, anything super built up. So.
And you can actually see it work. When I filled up the cleaning bucket, it was going to town. So I feel pretty confident we're going to do good with that product.
Aaron, thank you. I think we should send Aaron maybe one of the beer line cleaning kits.
There you go.
Message the page, Aaron, and then I'll get it out to you within a reasonable amount of time.
And that, Aaron, that cleaning kit does come with the Brew Clean product in it.
Right.
So you
That's
can
right.
use that as a primary cleaner. And from time to time you can use the sanitizer just to remove beer stone, but to save money, I would use the cleaner. Or any mild detergent.
Sure.
I'm waiting for my mother to comment. I keep clearing out my throat. Sorry, a part of right now, whatever's in the air, it is killing me. I don't know if y'all have allergies. Good Lord. My immune system, even with 3 heathen children later, which you could probably hear them. I told them to be quiet, and they're on their playground over here on my parents' property. Like, hey, Daddy said be quiet. Woo! Anyway. Before we get into the Brew Day stories like we had talked about, someone else, Gary, asked a question real quick. Can you ask the guys, at what PSI should I carbonate an Imperial Stout? Joe, you want to take a stab at it first?
That's a fairly good question. It really depends if you're trying to force carb it, or if you're just going to give it a week or so on carbonation. I'm different than a lot of people. I don't have as much patience. I do a lot of IPAs too, so you typically want to turn them around and drink them as fresh as possible.
Yes. Yeah.
So I force carb at like 30 overnight and usually be done by the next day. For like an Imperial Stout like that, where you don't typically want quite as much carbonation level as you would like an IPA or a blonde ale or something like that, I would say maybe 15 to 20 psi, and check it once a day or twice a day, and just to make sure it doesn't overcarbonate on you. But that's what I would go with, and it may take 3 to 5 days, something like that, and you'll probably be good.
And he actually just put in a quick blurb again saying forced carb.
Oh, forced carb.
Oh, forced carb.
Yeah, if you want to drink it right away, I would shoot it up to 25 psi. And another thing that I do, a lot of people don't believe in or whatever, I shake it, give it a good shake, and it really helps get more CO2 in there.
That's the way I
Wait,
do
who's
it.
against shaking?
That's the way I've always done it. But
Right.
what I do it, if I was wanting to drink it immediately, I have a picnic tap, so, and I got a cup, so I'll shake it a couple of minutes and then test it.
Sure.
And just keep doing that until you get the
I think
taste
Todd
level you
got
want.
that from you.
Yeah, because I was bad about overcarbonating.
That's
That's why he referred the question to you.
That's funny. A little subtle backhand to James. I am so sorry. If Todd was here, he would appreciate that. Which, by the way,
Oh, he would have caught that immediately.
I did not adequately throw him under the bus. So it's opening season or opening weekend for deer, for rifle hunting, and that's where he's at. He wouldn't join us.
Yeah, he said, "Oh, we can't. I can't make it. I can't make it."
He had committed to this when I talked about it. I don't know, 3 months ago or whenever the HHH started talking about Learn to Brew Day.
Yeah.
He's like, "Yeah, I'll be there. It'll be great. Oh yeah, we'll do a video. Oh yeah, this and that." 3 weeks ago, oh yeah, Josh,
I got all my buddies coming down.
He started buttering me up first, which when I knew something was up, because he was like, "You do the show so good. Like, do you need me? Like, you could do it. I mean, you know what? If no one showed up, you could probably still do it, right?" It's like, "Todd, what's going on, man?"
And then they called me, "James, can you come in the office?"
Yeah.
What's going on? We're going to get you a room and all a room. He kept saying room. I'm like, it's not that far a drive,
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, sure, I'll do it.
And
No
you're
problem.
driving back today too.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Thought we were going to hang out.
We'll hang out, and then I'll drive back.
James, I was just saying, I didn't put you, Johnny, on the spot. Like, are we not friends? Hold on. Forget about the live stream. James, why aren't you going to hang around, man? Gary, message the page. We're going to send you as well a beer line cleaning kit because you guys, I appreciate that y'all are asking good questions that are actually getting some conversation because I didn't come to the table with anything. So I'm looking at my clock. Joking aside, I want to get into Brew Day stories because my dad's not going to be in the filming. Like for that we're gonna be doing, but he's gonna be watching. He's never brewed in his life. We haven't done the extract series that we're about to start,
right.
And he is so interested in like what
there's
there's this mystique, this veil of intimidation over people who don't know anything about brewing.
Yeah.
Even this stuff on the table, a person who's not familiar with it at all looks at it and goes, maybe I won't.
Too much work.
Maybe I won't. And the reason why,
dedication
and the reason y'all built that bundle though was as a barrier or an entry to break through that barrier for all grain brewing.
Right.
But like, what are y'all like when you first started brewing, James? I'm gonna get it right. 17 years ago.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, boy, what an adventure! Because back then, the closest homebrew shop that I had to drive to Irving, Texas. On a Sunday, I got the bug bad.
Put that in hours for us or minutes.
That
drive.
was a 3-hour drive.
One way.
One way.
Wow, for your supplies.
Yeah, to get supplies.
You got to stock up at that point.
Yeah, I bought a couple of a big carboy, a little carboy, a pot.
So this is before the day of internet ordering.
There was a few out there, but I wanted to see what I was doing. I put my hands on the equipment and all that.
Did color TV exist back then,
It
mister?
did,
okay.
yeah. Cell phones, too.
No YouTube at that time.
There was YouTube, actually.
Yeah?
Yeah, you guys.
I'm sorry. But you would drive, because you were that committed to the brewing?
Yeah. I was excited about learning how to do it, and my first batch was a horrendous failure.
As is a lot of ours.
Well, I never really took into stock. I got on the internet and read, but that when they say sanitation's key to a successful product,
didn't sink in.
That didn't sink in. I thought, wow, this is clean. Rinse it real good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had the first batch wasn't that good.
Joe,
my first batch, it actually turned out pretty decent. So I got into it with my roommate, who we had been talking about it for years. We got into craft beer years before, and then. One Christmas, I guess it's been about 3 years now. It was Christmas 3 years ago. His mom got him a starter kit online, and I think it came with a carboy and 2 buckets and the bottle brush, the normal stuff for your kit. We had to go buy a kettle, so I bought the kettle, and that was kind of like my addition to it. And we picked up, I think it was like a Sierra Nevada Pale Ale clone as our first batch, and it was rough because we didn't have like an outdoor burner at that point, and I went ahead and went with like a big 10-gallon kettle just because I knew,
your stovetop.
Yeah, and that's what that was where we went wrong. It was so big, it ended up like melting some wires under the stovetop and like blew up, and man, it was kind of rough. The batch turned out fine. We didn't quite get a 60-minute boil on it. There was, like I said, there's always something that goes a little wrong. And now our stuff doesn't work quite right, but it still works. So next batch, we bought an outdoor burner from just Academy and a propane tank, and kind of you learn and you live and learn and kind of make those changes as you need to. But yeah, we've definitely had some weird stuff. We had one where we were brewing on the Sabco at the old homebrew supply shop.
Yeah,
that's a nice unit.
Yeah,
it is. It was such a nice unit.
We have like right where the entrance to our garage, like the warehouse entrance is, it kind of slopes down on the driveway, and so we had the unit draining out. We were done. It was just filling up the carboy and draining out the cleaner and stuff. We ran through it. And, I guess it was wind or something. It kind of rocked on that hill just a little bit, and just enough to bump one of the carboys, and it laid it over. It was full of wort, and it just busted and just ran right down. That was one of the worst incidences.
Wow.
But yeah, there's, like I said, it's a brew day is something that's going to happen that's like not planned or a little bit unfortunate, but you just kind of have to persevere and
that's true.
Keep
Besides
going.
our beer not being that delicious, I don't have a horror story because I started, I wasn't into homebrewing at all until starting to work for Todd and Keg Connection 10 years ago. And then when I started working for him, he was doing brew in a bag. Mm-hmm. So we were doing that stuff, and I was just mainly helping him the way that, you would help if you're holding tools for somebody.
Yeah.
Like if your dad's letting you work on the car,
Yeah.
like, here,
Monkey
hand me
wrench,
this, or hand me that. And I had no earthly idea what I was doing anyway, just watching. But so my first brew days, we're in the middle of a construction zone. What are you trying to hand me? Oh, okay. My wife apparently needs the keys of the car. Guys, when Disney World launched, they didn't have this. I was trying to think, what is the saying in Jurassic Park? Where Disney World had all these things, and then the guy was like, yeah, but the animatronics didn't eat the guest.
Yeah.
Always think of that whenever things go wrong. I don't know if that was Hammond in that movie.
Jurassic Park.
Yeah, in Jurassic Park. I don't remember if that was which guy said that. But anyways, my podcast days have more horror stories than my brew days do.
Sure.
All these things going on. But that's what I've always done brewing a bag until when he moved the company. That's the first time I ever did all grain, and that was with you.
Yeah.
A year ago.
Yeah, it was Was it on the Grainfather?
It was on the Grainfather.
Yeah.
That's my only experience with all grain brewing. Can you believe that? 10 years in the industry, and my only true experience with all grain, as in participating in it. Not I've been at competitions, or I've been here and there.
Sure,
and I understand
being actually involved with
exactly.
that
I think that's crazy to me. When I look back.
As long as I'm of the opinion that it doesn't matter whether you do extract or all grain, as long as you're brewing, that's the important part.
Sure.
Yeah,
and there's no reason to thumb my nose up at extract.
Somebody had just commented saying, my buddy and I were competing to make the best spiced porter. I won by default after he broke his hydrometer in the kettle just after flame out. That sounds like Todd.
That's rough.
How many hydrometers has he broken?
Every time we've got together brewing, he's broke one.
I have customers ask me that a lot. It's like, well, how do I know it's done fermenting? The ultimate way is to get a reading, test it 2 or 3 days later, and if it hasn't changed, there's not any fermentation going. And a lot of very common questions. Can I just put the hydrometer in the carboy? And it's like, I would highly recommend not
couldn't
to
read
do
it
that.
anyway.
Yeah. It's gonna be hard to read, hard to fish out of there, and it's if you're using a glass carboy, it's like it might break, and then your whole batch is ruined. So.
Todd always gives you a hard time about your past of carbonation issues.
Yes,
but we don't give him a hard enough time for his present breaking things issues. And again, he's not
bull in a china closet.
Bull in a china closet. I'm waiting for him to comment because I think he's watching.
It's said with love, Todd.
That's not me. That's not me. Thank you, though, Todd, for sending things. We do have submit some questions or comments or whatever, because we have some recipes we're going to be giving away. I know we have one California Common we're going to be giving away.
Yes.
That is November's brew. It is going to launch, I think, next Wednesday on kegconnection.com.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You are the man behind True to Style. You
Yes.
are the mastermind, or the one we point fingers at, depending on...
Depends on how successful it is.
Come on. The reactions so far that I have seen from the people that have been brewing, specifically the alt beer,
Yeah.
they love it. It is now time that people are serving it
Yeah.
after brewing it back in September.
Right.
Okay.
And they are loving it.
Well, that's
Your
great.
recipes
That's
are working
great.
out great.
Well,
and the
I
beer
know-
signs, I don't know who designed those things.
The beer signs are pretty cool too.
Probably the
They're
best part
snazzy.
of those kits.
If I'd have remembered to bring the kit,
would've had this on the
we
show.
could show you on Facebook Live. But no, all jokes aside, y'all both had a chance to taste the California Common.
Oh.
And I think they'll
Turned out
they'll
great.
like it. Yeah.
I apologize because you asked, I think, for us to leave some.
Was it all gone when we left?
It was
It was
gone.
Oh, really?
pretty
I only
much-
had that one glass. But I
yeah,
know that
me
there were some
too.
other people
Yeah, me too. I only had that one.
I'm glad you had a full pint. You
Yeah,
know.
yeah, exactly.
I sneak a little shot or two, But I was finished cleaning up yesterday, and I thought, I wonder.
Yeah.
Oh,
No, I didn't. Yeah, it
We've
wasn't.
got some comments
Poor
coming
Todd.
in.
That's Todd.
Hey, I'm
Drink
not-
all my
Too bad, so sad.
We need a GoPro right above the tap and say, okay.
Right.
Oh,
Oh,
there
yeah,
you
or
go.
one of those Nest cameras. That's what Todd would want.
Yeah,
that
just-
way, wherever he's at now, in a freaking deer stand,
Right.
he's gonna be like, talk 2 ways. That's my beer. Don't touch my beer. People are commenting. I just want to say this real quick. Mark, thank you for the comment. Brendan, thank you for the comment. Message the page, and we're going to go ahead and send you as well, because we've got a ton of beer line cleaning kits, right, James?
Yeah, we want to get them out in
Okay.
circulation.
And if
Message
we miss
the
you
page.
on those, we are giving those away. Also, if you order a keg kit, so like a homebrew kit, keg kit on homebrewsupply.com, we're throwing you a free cleaning kit with it.
That's
So
right.
Keep that in
Sweet.
mind, too.
Promo code HHH will get you some additional bread off the top of that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Will they work in combination?
It will.
Okay.
Yeah, we have it set for that. It won't work for things like this bundle,
Right,
but
or
it
like
will
the
work for
pint
the keg
glass
kit
and stuff,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's what I
Cool.
was told. It's your site, buddy. But
Right.
but message the page so we could get you those out. And anyone who's commented so far, your name is going to go into a drawing that we'll do after the show, because we have we'll use some like random.org or some kind of service like that for the drawing for the recipe.
Okay.
And we'll do a California Common, and maybe we'll do a gift card to Cat Connection.
Yeah, with genuine Imperial
we can do that.
yeast.
Let's talk about Imperial
That
real
stuff
quick.
is amazing.
We have had an episode about them a little bit.
Sure.
Homebrew Supply, we have to thank y'all so much.
Yes, I had no idea.
Woo! Imperial's good.
They make really great stuff, and it's double the cell count than your normal brand. So I would suggest, if you haven't checked them out, I would definitely suggest trying to grab some Imperial for your next batch and give it a whirl. And like I said, it's double the count, but I would still make a starter if you normally do that. Just go through your normal routine with it, and you'll notice some
Makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
I say, James, please, I know, and you're not even. You get no commission if they sell anything. It doesn't matter if Homebrew Supply pushes it or or whatever site is selling it.
Yeah.
One of the other really sweet things before you start is they actually compensate us on what we use for our home batches and stuff too, and for the company's recipes that we brew. It's just such an awesome thing.
I mean, who does that?
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
We just let them know what we used.
Yeah, Joe, you were the one telling me, like, if Joe picks up, like, if he was going to do his own California Common, or your California Common has the cable
I used
car.
Darkness yesterday. So
Did you?
I did.
But cable car is the standard from Imperial.
Yeah.
If Joe was like, hey, I'm using this for my brew day, they'll give him a credit to replace it for y'all's inventory at Homebrew Supply.
Yeah, isn't that
Who
awesome?
does that?
I know.
Yeah, that's
It
crazy.
reminds me of Todd, like with Cat Connection, his return policy. I've always called him the Walmart of homebrew supplies and draft beer equipment, because people will be like, I got this 3 months ago, and I, left it outside and got all this. Todd will be like, yeah, send it back. Let's work on it for you. Like, Todd, no, he did this. Yeah, no, it's fine. I'll clean it up and send it back.
Hey, got to make them happy, man. That's what keeps them coming back.
Yeah, that is what makes them come back.
I checked this morning when I forgot the ingredient kit, and the beer that I brewed yesterday was going to town. It was motorboating.
What'd you do? A stout or something?
I did all the mess up grains.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, the mystery ale.
Mystery beer.
Yeah.
Mystery
I love
ale.
your mystery beers, though.
Yeah.
They're way better than my mystery beers or mystery lunch or whatever mystery I have from leftovers in the fridge.
Right.
But the Imperial, real quick, to get off it. You were talking about the efficiency of it, right?
Oh, wow,
Like that's
amazing.
what changed your opinion, or that's what converted you to a believer.
Oh, absolutely. I had the first beer that I did was actually the California Common. 3 days is done.
Yeah.
3 days it
chugged
was
right
done.
through it.
Yeah.
And compare that, because we have people here that have never brewed at all. Compare that 3 days compared to
3 days to compare to 14.
Yeah.
10 to
That's what I
14
mean.
days.
That's what I mean,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like, that is a punch you in the face difference.
Yeah, it's amazing.
People are
you
going to
know.
think the show's sponsored by Imperial now. Imperial, pay me money, and this show could be brought to you.
Now, I still
I'm
would
only slightly
recommend to let it set and condition, because
Certainly.
when it's ripping through sugars like that, there could be some sulfur created, and you want to let all that dissipate. So, but it's amazing. It created a fantastic product.
Talking about brew day stories, Jonathan just wrote in saying, I've been lucky that the worst thing that's happened is that I forgot to close the valve and got sprayed with wort, but it was after I chilled, so no burns.
Oh,
I'm glad he mentioned the after. I was going to say, oh my God, send us a photo.
the second degree, third degree.
Yeah, what degree burn? Yeah, if it was a second degree, you'll get this price sent to you. Oh, getting sprayed. I'm trying to think, what is the worst equipment malfunction either one of y'all have had?
Oh, a stuck chiller. I had a one of those
Like a
big
counterflow?
chillers, and I was doing 40 gallons of beer on that big system, and it got clogged up. I put whole leaf hops, and I didn't whirlpool it enough, so it pulled it into the chiller and just completely stopped it up. So I had 40 gallons of beer, hot beer, or wort, that I couldn't chill down, and we ended up, we tried to, everything, we ended up having to throw it out.
That's
No.
rough.
Yes.
Oh, that is
Because you only have a short time window, and those sugars, that bugs like the sugars,
Oh, yeah.
and it's just wasted effort if it's over an hour.
Turn it into a sour batch, right?
Yeah, I've done that before.
And that'll do it for this episode of the Homebrew. Joe brought up
Joe, look at these
sours.
white bubbles.
Yeah.
Sours. Joe,
I don't know.
Equipment failure.
The worst is, I guess it's not necessarily it's my own fault, but I was about 20 minutes out of being done with the boil and ran out of propane. So I started scrambling. I still had hop additions to put in and stuff. I started scrambling, calling all my friends, like, I need bring a can of propane down. So I guess that's probably the worst. I've had an issue with the chiller before too, with the plate chiller just getting clogged and not actually having any flow at all. But it wasn't too bad. We just threw an immersion chiller in there and finished it up.
Gosh, I wish I'd have had, but I would have had to have probably 100 feet because it's that 50-gallon Blinkman bowl pot.
Oh yeah, that size of a batch. Yeah.
When your batch failed, like, can you put that into a dollar amount? Like, what was that?
So that was because back then we were just buying vials of yeast.
Right.
So we bought, on that batch, we bought a dozen vials of yeast and probably still didn't have enough.
Yeah.
And about 70 pounds of grain and probably a pound of hops.
Oof.
I'm trying to do the math in my head.
It was a lot.
It made you cry.
Yeah, it was bad. Yeah, it was
What'd y'all
bad.
do? Just go to the store and buy a case and cry yourself?
Oh, no, we've never been guilty of not having beer, so
Yeah.
we just kind of sat around and went, yep,
Yep.
yep.
Like King of the Hill.
I'll tell you what.
Jonathan, thanks for that story. Again, as well, message the page, and we'll get you out a CMB gravity feed beer line cleaning kit because I don't want to go home with them. Like, I already have enough.
Right.
I think I have 3 of my own actually.
And they're really cool because it comes with a wrench, a faucet wrench. It comes with a solution.
You're talking about the fermenting in 3 days, real quick, just before I forget. He'd asked, Aaron had written in again and said, how long would you condition it, even if it is done fermenting in 3 days?
I would go, me personally, at least a week.
Okay.
You know, you probably need to go a couple of weeks, wouldn't you say, Joe?
Yeah.
But I want to drink the beer.
I know.
You
That's that's why I don't do a lot of lagers. It's just because
Now, James, if you did 2 weeks, is that for the sake of clarity? Is that what I mean?
It does a lot. What you can do if you're confident that it's finished and there's no fermentation left, then you can cold crash it and it'll clarify.
Right.
You know, I've had beers go crystal clear in 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks?
Yeah, without using like
with no
gelatin.
That's what I was about to ask.
Yeah.
With no additives.
Right.
You know, just cold.
So that's like best case scenario.
Yeah.
I mean, like that's like that's when you feel like you're a brewer.
I mean, it adds to the presentation. If you say
really
somebody
does,
you brewed
yeah.
a beer and it's
Pretty
bright,
looking, yeah.
you know,
I love it.
And what I mean by bright is crystal clear. And,
Right. No. Yeah.
You know, it's to me it's impressive.
That last alt that you had in the fridge there was one of the best I think I've ever seen in regards to the clarity.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. It was beautiful beer, and I know
Well,
that sounds lame, but like,
But I mean, that's just keeping it about almost freezing for a couple of weeks.
Right.
Will do
Right.
that. You
Yeah,
know, it
everything
depends on the yeast.
falls
you
out.
know.
Yeah. I usually cold crash just for 24 to 36 hours, and it does wonders itself.
It does.
it does.
Yeah.
And cold crashing, real quick, again, because you know how our show, guys, we have a lot of people who aren't familiar with terms. I don't believe we've ever really talked about cold crash. Let's not go deep into it because I think we have a future episode about cold crashing. But just explain what it is and why you do it and what it accomplishes.
Well, you just get it to as close to 32 degrees as possible, and then the proteins fall out of the beer.
Hot particles,
Exactly.
too.
Anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the reason why you do it is for.
It's clear.
I mean,
Mainly
what
for
is it?
clarity.
it is replacing what process is what I guess I was getting at.
filter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I've
replace the
tried.
filter.
Have you tried doing that before?
I have never.
It's a
filtered.
nightmare.
Yeah,
Don't,
I can't imagine.
Yeah.
I've had nightmares just pouring wort through a funnel into my carboy. Just the screen on the funnel,
Yeah.
it gets clogged. But another good thing about cold crashing is CO2 goes into colder liquid faster, so you can actually force carb faster if it's coming straight out of the fridge too. So
Good,
it's
great point.
keep
Yeah,
that
and that's
mind.
in fact that I would tell anybody if you're going to force carbonate, like immediately get it as cold as
crash.
possible.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a lot easier. It's a lot easier to overcarb a real cold beer. By the way, I've found that out.
It's just a lot easier. I'm sorry. I'm trying to read and listen.
You're not even listening.
Oh,
to it.
thank God my wife's not here. She's like, huh? There's video proof. You can't do it. Just because I'm trying not to lose track because there's so many good questions coming in.
Sure,
right
sure.
now, Brendan asked, and Brendan, before I forget, right into the page, and we're going to send you a beer line cleaning kit. And everyone who's commenting again, you're going to get your names thrown into one drawing for, I say one drawing. We know for sure we're going to give away one California Common.
Right.
There's got to be Homebrew Supply, some recipes we'll give away too.
Oh yeah.
Or let them pick a recipe. If they actually go on the site right now, I think there's a section of recipes that are all winter
sale.
brews.
Oh, yeah.
We'll let them
sale
just pick
brewers.
from there.
Sure.
There we go.
Yeah,
I
and they
say
have
look at me. I'm running y'all stuff. Hey, Joe, you're going to give away this. Hey, James.
They have a very impressive list of recipes.
They really do.
It's amazing how many are on there.
And Brendan is asking, we're looking to make a spiced Christmas stout or porter. Any good recipes? And he's saying he's doing either a 5 or a 10-gallon batch. But he wants a good recipe for a spiced Christmas stout or porter. Anything off the top of y'all's heads?
We've got, I know on Homebrew Supply, we've got a spiced pumpkin porter. And then I know we've got a Christmas ale. It's Belschnick's Scourge Ale. And then there's those will probably be the closest to what you're talking about.
Spiced.
But honestly, on any of that, you can take any porter recipe and you can spice it, just how you want. And that's what I love about one of the most things that I love about homebrewing is you can take any recipe you want and you can tweak it and you can
make it your own.
Yeah, exactly. So
especially all grain.
Yeah, don't hesitate to just pick any porter recipe and kind of spice it how you want, or like a Scottish ale and spice it with some cinnamon and some clove or whatever you want.
Nutmeg, allspice.
Yep.
Go to town.
Now
Vanilla beans.
Let's assume he didn't even say spiced.
Ginger.
What winter brews would you recommend if someone just said, like, hey, I want to bring a beer for my Christmas get-together. My family's coming over. Last time I gave them beer, it sucked. And this is maybe an anecdotal story. May or may not be.
What is your family like?
Yeah.
My family, all they drink is Milwaukee's Beast. It's like they're not gonna like anything.
I like your family. Let's do this.
I don't know. I like a good chocolate stout or an oatmeal stout.
Especially if it's cold. Down here in Texas, it would never get super cold, but
hardly
it's still not. Yeah, if it's cool, it's still nice to enjoy like a stout or a porter. The darker beers during this kind of time of the year usually hit home a little more. But it's really kind of whatever you enjoy is usually what I recommend to people to brew. But yeah, if you're meeting with your family and stuff, I would say something either easy drinking that everybody's gonna like, or a stout that's kind of seasonal that goes with
I will say
the kind of cold weather.
That California Common, I don't know its history yet in regards to like when it's traditionally served, this or that. That seems like, especially your recipe specifically, like a very universal beer. That's the kind of beer that I would want to serve on.
Big
like,
time.
Hey, try this, friend, because
tell me it's not good. It's just everybody likes
it.
it.
Actually, it was one of those things back during its heyday. That was what all the common people drank. Mm-hmm. And it was not considered the best beer in the world, but it had a following.
Is it analogous at all to like the Alt in Dusseldorf, where it is like the regional beer? You know what I'm saying? Like,
it had its origins in San Francisco.
That's what I mean. Like, were the people in that region? Is that all they were drinking?
In that region, and that the working men's. That was the working man's
common beer. Yeah.
Yep.
It is so good.
And it was German immigrants that created that. They had to deal with what they had, the hops that they had and the malt that they had. Mm-hmm. They had no refrigeration, so they had to go about doing. It's funny. That's the cool thing about beer is you can make beer anything you want given the circumstances that you have, the water, what you have to pick from, and that
you don't
dictates
have hops,
the style.
You can find other herbs that can add that bitterness and kind of cut the sweetness. So.
The good thing about that style is, commercially speaking, there is a company that makes probably my favorite. Beyond, actually, yours is my favorite now. It really is, and I'm not just saying that because he's here. But Anchor, pardon me, their steam.
Yeah,
people
great.
Listening now who are like, "What's the California Common?" And if you've never had Anchor steam, go buy
go
it.
Get one.
It is nationally distributed, right?
Yeah.
It's
all over.
Should be everywhere.
That will be like, you'll want to brew, in my opinion, after you try it. If you've never had Anchor, or if you think Anchor, the true to style that you came up with, it tops it, in my opinion. It really does. It was. It could have been the brewer, to be fair, because remember, we're going to do maybe a video series of pro and schmo, and let a blind taster. Joe, do you want to be a blind taste tester where you have to guess which one came from the pro and which one came from the schmo?
Sure.
It'll be,
that
Josh,
sounds like a fun series.
I think it's going to be fun. I'm just trying to get funding. But
yeah, the Anchor Steam, though, that's like one of the OG kind of craft beers, that really kind of revitalized the craft beer industry. So yeah, if you haven't tried it, I would definitely get out there and get a 6-pack of it and give it a taste. That's like pretty much kind of what you're designed this new true to style on, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think three guys come to mind: Jim Cook, Sam Adams.
Yes, Sam Adams. Yeah.
Sierra Nevada, the Pale Ale,
Sure.
and Anchor Steam.
Yeah.
Those are the three that started the craft beer movement, in my opinion.
No, I think history supports your opinion.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Was it Ken Grossman? I think is
It's
the Sierra Nevada. All those three kind of really did.
And Fritz
spearhead.
Maytag was the guy that started Anchor Steam.
Okay, I think he's in, or pardon me, I don't remember.
Yeah,
who.
and he was part of that Maytag dynasty.
Okay, that's what I was gonna. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a documentary on Netflix now. I'm gonna butcher the name of it. It's called like Craft, or I mean, it's about the origins of craft beer and where it's at now, and it follows a couple of startup breweries, and it's actually a really good documentary. If I could remember the name, I would tell you guys. But just go on if you go on Netflix and search beer.
Sure,
Yeah.
it'll pop up for you.
Their algorithms are better than my memory. Let's take a few more questions before we wrap it up, because we are at like the 45-minute mark. Believe it or
Wow.
not.
Quick.
I know. I can just small talk all day.
Right.
Logan, who again, please, if y'all are just joining, because we do have a much bigger audience and it's roller coastering in and out. If you're commenting, by default, you're going to go into a drawing to win some prizes from Keg Connection and from Homebrew Supply. If we take your question, like Logan right now, message the page so that we can send you a CM Becker gravity feed beer line cleaning kit that includes that brew clean, includes the wrench, includes
the
everything
hose,
they
the bottle,
need to clear the
everything
line.
you need.
Faucet brush, I think too, or some kind of little brush you get.
Yes, it is. It is. Yes, it does have the brush in there.
Yes, you're right. You're right.
Everything. So Logan writes, any tips on how to hit your mash temp each time? Even using brewing software, I'm always missing it by a few degrees.
I mean, if you're it just really depends on your system. I like I said earlier, I brew on for my mash, I do a 10-gallon igloo cooler, and I do use software to kind of shoot for my strike water. But if you're consistently noticing that you're either under or over a little bit, I would just try and adjust to that. But yeah, you typically go by pounds of grain, and then basically how many gallons of water you're going to need, and how hot that water should be going in, because your grains are obviously going to bring the temp down. I don't have a rule of thumb right off the top of my head, but I usually in general shoot for like 175 to 180 if I'm doing like 5-gallon batches, and if I'd rather be just a little hot than cold.
That's what I was going to say.
And if I'm
Nailed
a
it.
degree or two over, I will just put that lid on and let it go. If I'm under, then you can always add a little bit of hot water and give it another stir.
Yeah, you can always come down quicker than you can heat up.
Right.
And then if you're wanting to get a specific temp range. Like yesterday, I was doing a batch, and I shot initial strike of 168 to hit 152, and I hit 153. So
Yeah, it's
but
hard to complain about
the
that.
brewing software had me at 162.
Uh-huh.
So I thought, that doesn't sound right to me.
Sure.
So you always go a little bit over, because it's easier to come down on, even if you take the lid off the cooler.
Yep.
It'll and stir it. You can get it down where you want and then close it up.
Perfect. Another question from Dan, who just wrote in. He says, does a Whirlpool provide enough filtration for a plate chiller with large late hop additions, or should you use a spider?
That's a good question.
That is a really good
Whirlpools
question.
work. They do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Whirlpools are great. I highly recommend one, no matter what kind of chiller you're using, honestly. But I don't tip. I mean, if I'm doing late additions and a lot of hops, I do a lot of IPAs in general. So I always use a straining bag also. That helps. But I would definitely suggest a Whirlpool and let it sit after you stir for a good couple minutes. You just let it sit for 20, and you can see that the little volcano of hot protein and hot particles will concentrate in the middle. And if you can open up a valve and draw from the side of the kettle, then that'll definitely be good for the plate chiller. But I still recommend running a hot cleaner through your plate chiller after each time, because
Absolutely.
there's so
Yeah.
intricate little crevices in there that they will get clogged over time. So keep that in mind for sure.
And another thing that I used to do when I used a pretty big plate chiller on the big system, is when Bull Day started, I had a 5-gallon stainless steel. I'd kit it on the stove, fill it with water, and throw that in there and just let it boil all day long.
Or if you have access to caustic, just getting the plate chiller itself and letting it soak in caustic. But yeah, what we also do is very similar. We'll just run it. We have that plate chiller with the pump combination, and so we'll just run hot cleaner through it while we're getting our mash going and stuff, and just really gonna get it flushed out.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than having a infected batch due to a dirty
Or getting, like I
Plate
said
chiller.
earlier, getting it stuck halfway through the
Oh,
cooling
yeah, that's-
process.
Man,
is a
you
pain.
segue. It's like we are in brain connection because I was about to say, to wrap it up, again, everyone who submitted questions and comments, thank you so much. Your name's going to go into the drawing so that you can win some fun prizes. If we already addressed your question, message the page or email us. We're going to get you CM Becker beer line cleaning kits. But to wrap it up, it is Learn to Brew Day, Learn to Homebrew Day. One piece of advice for new brewers, or either one piece of advice or share a story of you sharing it with someone, like the art of brewing. You know what I mean? Because like both of those are, like when I got introduced to it, even though this started as my job,
Right.
it was still such a cool thing to be like, especially when it came time to drink.
Yeah.
I made that, or I handed Todd the stuff and he put it into that, and whatever. I made that, okay, and it tasted reasonable.
Yeah.
Like that's my favorite memory, and now like I'm gonna have my pop to share it with. I'm so excited about that because
yeah.
I think we're gonna jump into all grain almost immediately.
Oh, I agree.
Like we're gonna do
Yeah.
extract for the sake of this brewing series that we're gonna do,
Sure.
but I think he's gonna want to just jump right into all
Yeah.
grain
Yeah.
because it's addicting.
I guess
Yeah.
that would be my one piece of advice is don't get intimidated, or if something does go a little wrong during your brew day, like don't let it stop you and frustrate you enough to just quit. Just push on through. I guarantee you, even if that batch turns out bad, that's not going to be, if that's not your last batch, you're going to make good beer.
Yeah.
So that would be my piece of advice is don't get frustrated or intimidated. Just go for it. I mean, we got, like I said earlier, when my roommate and I started, we were definitely intimidated. We watched 100 YouTube videos. We got a video with that kid and watched it 20 times before, and it's like, once we did brew that first batch, it's like, just got to go for it. You can't
Yeah.
you can't be worried and intimidated. Just go for it.
And James, you?
I'd say just stick with it, like Joe says. Don't get disheartened if you have a bad batch. And it's not necessary. You don't have to. You find your own way of brewing. Everybody brews different. I brew different than Joe,
Big time.
I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm comfortable with the way I brew. If it comes out and the product is great, that's all that matters.
It is all that matters,
Yeah.
and that is. I'm glad you said that. People will find their own style, and that in regards to how they brew
Yeah.
and what they brew.
Oh, yeah.
If like Joe's things right now is IPA, James, that's not your thing.
No, and I'm not
Brew
going to
what
knock
you
him
like.
for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Brew what you like, drink what you like, share the hobby, have a good time. Because what does Charlie always say? Relax,
Relax, have a homebrew.
What a good segue. That's gonna do it, guys. Thanks for doing the live show.
Enjoyed it.
Yeah, that was fun.
I think we capped out at almost 5 people. Oh my gosh, no, it was like 30 something. But either way,
Okay.
I like to joke. They were all my family. Anyways, that's going to do it for this episode of the Homebrew Happy Hour. If you have a question you'd like us to discuss on a future episode, visit homebrewhappyhour.com and click on the submit a question link at the top of the page. Thank you to our show sponsor, which today was, I guess, technically Homebrew Supply. Use the promo code HHH at homebrewsupply.com. You'll get 5% off your order. This weekend right now, you better start. Go shop there before tomorrow because the sale's in for, there's deals on, let me unmute you. There's deals on keg kits.
Keg kits, recipe kit. We got
Half price
flat rate.
kits.
Yeah, flat rate on
shipping,
all of our.
free shipping on
Yep.
$100.
Yep.
Trying to think of all the promos that end tomorrow at 11:59 p.m. Central.
Yeah.
So
that
do it.
covers most of them.
Yeah, so do it. I don't know why the producer's telling us to wrap it up. And by producer, I mean my father. So that'll do it. On behalf of Todd Burns, James Carlson, Joe Ermis, and the Pro Media Network, I'm Joshua Stubing. Thank you for watching.
Adios.